Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, first things first. Before I even get out of bed, we're talking about the Lakers and the Raptors tonight at 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern. Another one of them early games, man. We got to be ready for that. Toronto is where we are, and it's one of those games where I think it could really be a trap game. Scotty Barnes is expected not to play. He's out with an orbital fracture. Got hit in the eye, I believe, in the Denver game. I think that's how that went, where they lost to the Denver Nuggets. But you got a lot of players on this Raptor team that are really breaking out right now. So even if they're missing stars, they still have some dudes that can really go. Emmanuel Quickly, I think, is also out, but I think also that he was listed as a game time decision. And another guy who they haven't seen all year long, Jacoby Walter, may want to make his debut against the Lakers naturally, as everybody else does. That was a player that they drafted this off season. Nice shooter. I don't know how many minutes they would give a guy like that this early, but this is one of those situations where a guy wants to make his debut after being injured against the Lakers. So it's a good chance after getting some G League minutes this week that he will try to make his debut today. So be ready for Jacoby Walter out of Baylor. But I just doubt that he would get many minutes as a rookie anyway. Plus, they got a lot of players at his position who are playing well. Grady Dick, he had 30 points, I believe it was. 30 points or 31 points. I forget which it was. But in the last game against Charlotte, where a lot of stuff happened in that Charlotte game, I would encourage everybody who's a Laker fan to check out the Charlotte game, because our favorite guy, Nick Richards, had a monster basketball game for his standards against the Toronto Raptors in a win. So that's why I would tell everybody to pay attention to that, because if you're interested in getting Nick Richards, he played his best ball like 2 nights ago. So yeah, that was interesting to see highlights of. I watched all of the highlights of the Raptor games. They've only won one of them. 1-4 is their record. They beat the Philadelphia 76ers, but they've been really playing pretty well. These last 2 games, they've been getting into the paint like crazy. I think they got into the paint for 80 points against Charlotte. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, they got in the paint for like 72 points or something like that against Denver. Lost both games, but that's some serious heavy-duty work in the interior. Jakob Poeltl has been playing fantastic to start the season. Ochai Agbaji's really been pushing a punch off the bench. As I said, Grady Dick had 30 in the last one. I think he had like 16 the night before. He's been balling. And they just got R.J. Barrett back about 2 nights ago, and he came in out the gate playing like an all-star. He had, I think, 31 points, 8 assists in the last game against Charlotte. So they're knocking on the door trying to get a victory, but it just hasn't worked out for them as of yet, against anybody but the Philadelphia 76ers, where they looked really good. Philly, of course, didn't have Joel out there, but they won that game on the road about 4 games ago. So they're struggling, man. They had a game against the Minnesota Timberwolves where it was a whole lot of basically Julius Randle just driving and laying the ball up over him, and of course Ant-Man dunking the ball like crazy. Stuff like that was going on. So this is a team that's missing a lot of players, guys going in and out of the lineup, so it's kind of hard to get a win, but they do have guys playing very well at once. So we gotta understand that they're gonna shoot the ball with Grady out there, Ochai out there. Who else? They got some dudes that can really shoot the ball. If Jacoby comes in, he could definitely shoot it. They got a guy by the name of Battle off of their bench that really packs a punch. Good energy guy that I'm noticing out there. So you got to keep an eye open for Battle. I wouldn't be surprised if he has a big game tonight at home. Of course, you want to talk about Davion Mitchell, who's really playing well. Came over from the Sacramento Kings in the offseason, and he's really a fantastic defensive player. Of course, we talked about him in a video yesterday. Him and Jamal Sheed are players that mirror one another, smaller guards that are known for locking people down and can pack a punch on the offensive end as well. If I'm not mistaken, Davion Mitchell had 11 assists in the last game, so he's starting to really get minutes to show why he was picked 6th overall about 6 years ago, but was never actually given the opportunity because he started his career playing behind De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese Halliburton and everybody else. They had the guard spot at the time. So he just never got a chance to shake off the role player reputation. But he's always been someone with a lot of upside. And Toronto's featuring him a bit more off of their bench. So he's going to be a problem for us tonight. They have a lot of players in their backcourt, and we have a lot of problems with our backcourt. And that includes D'Angelo Russell nursing a back. I guess he's got something going on with his back now. And, of course, Anthony Davis in our front court is having issues with his hip. So they're both game time decisions. Hopefully they can go. Much has been said about their, need to carry as much of this team as possible. And so if we don't have either one of them, it's going to be really rough out there without our with having such a smaller thin bench. So that's something that we always consider with this year's team. Until we make a move to get more bodies down here, we really can't afford for anybody to go down any further. Of course, we still got some guys injured. Christian Wood, Christian Koloko, Vanderbilt. It would have been nice if Koloko could go tonight since he played for the Toronto Raptors. I would love for him to make his debut tonight, but I just don't know if that's what the Lakers are intending. He has been cleared, but I think they want to give him more time to work him way into shape, so that probably makes more sense. But it would be nice if he could get out there and play against his old team. So this is a trap game, man. RJ Barrett and Jakob Poeltl are the stars on the floor. Grady is starting to become a star, and I don't know if Quickly is going to play or not, but if he does, you could expect good 20 points, 10 assists from him too. So they just got a lot going on. It hasn't translated to really much success, as we've already stated, but I just feel like a team like this, when you got players surging, good things can happen at home if you're coming in and don't play well. We have to get back to crashing the offensive glass. We have to find a way to get some points out of our bench. The guys who've been struggling on our bench must play better. And ultimately, I just feel like this is the ultimate trap game. And so that's what I'm calling it. Even though Toronto hasn't been able to beat anybody, they made Charlotte look pretty good. At the end of the day, they scored 133 points against Charlotte or something like that. The score was like 135 to 133. So, they have enough to do enough, especially if you're not going to play defense. That's what it comes down to. And they're not afraid to get in the paint and score. That is what has been clear. They don't shoot the three ball at a high percentage. They tend to overshoot it, I think, as far as their volume based on their percentage. But if they're going to get into the paint and score the way that they've been scoring, it's going to be tough, man. They have a lot of fast break players. They got some good defensive players who can steal the ball. They have good rebounding players like Jakob and Chris Boucher. You know what I mean? And they got guys like Ochai who's packing a punch and starting to come into his own as well. So it's just a bunch of young guys that are getting much needed opportunity with guys being out in their position. So you'll see Jamal Sheed, you'll see Davion Mitchell, you'll see Ochai Agbaji, and so with them all being capable of playing well right now, I just think this is a dangerous team with nothing to lose, expecting to tank. But just like every tanking team, if you get a Laker team coming in, you can afford to get that win. You know what I mean? And that's exactly how I expect the Toronto Raptors to approach this one. If we handle business, we should push them over because they really don't have winning intangibles at the moment. But the way that they have individual players playing right now, I just expect big games. They're at home. That's the main thing. They're going to feed off their crowd. I'm sure Drake will be in the house. And, we're going to have to play well. We're going to need some guys who haven't played well to step in and play well, especially since we have some key guys that are ailing. Max Christie's due for a solid game. He hasn't played well at all to start this season. Toronto was the team that showed some interest in him. He probably would be wise to play some inspired ball tonight in this building. I think that would be a good idea. The Lakers showed all of us how serious they are for what it is they're intending. They declined the player option on Jalen Hood-Schifino. And in doing so, they sent not only a message to Jalen that, you got to start playing better because at this point we can't afford to keep anybody on our team as a project that's going to take forever, but also to everybody else on the team that fits the bill for. We will move on from you. That's the message that was sent. We will. I understand that we drafted Jalen 17th overall last year, and I like to think that he has a future in this league. But we have so many needs with our flexibility issues and our lack of depth on our bench, so many players that cannot contribute, that this seemed like a decent decision for the Lakers to do that, so to create the $4 million necessary and maybe the roster spot next year that we're ultimately missing right now. I don't know if we're going to regret doing that or not because this is a 21-year-old point guard. But what it does say is that the Lakers are willing to say, yo, we messed up the pick, and now we're ready to move on from the player because we don't believe he's going to play well in our uniform in time for our timeline to make sense. I think it's the decision I probably would make as well. I don't necessarily believe in giving up on players this early. It's almost unprecedented to give up on a player this young, this early, when you drafted him that high. But I think that the Lakers are in a very unique position to where they can't afford to wait on a player who looks like he's really genuinely struggling under the circumstances we have. And so I think it's good for Jalen to potentially move on, and it's good for the Lakers to potentially move on from Jalen and try to get us a player that can help us off the bench who can more than likely look like an NBA player right away. And so that's where Max comes in because he's also struggling. We've held on to him for a couple of years. We paid him. But, he may not be the guy for us when it really comes down to it. If he can't step in and play more mature on the court, we may not be able to hold on to him either because we have really specific needs and we have backed ourselves into a corner with our timeline. And with the Bronny James roster spot, we just have less of a margin for keeping players that can't perform. And the reality is there's some guys we can't get rid of. Like Bronny, we're not going to be moving on from. Cam Reddish, we can't necessarily move him right now, whether we would like to or not. And so these are the type of things where it's like the Lakers are already letting people know, if y'all don't start playing better, we're getting you out of here. And I think that's a very good message to send for a bench that's really underperformed. And I want to start seeing players play better, or I do want to see the Lakers start making decisions that ultimately light a fire under them. I think it's necessary. We're having some significant deficiencies off of the bench scoring the ball. We're the worst bench scoring team in basketball. And, we got guys like Gabe Vincent that we can't necessarily move. You know what I mean? It's frustrating, man. But the Lakers, all in all, now find themselves in this spot where it's very sensitive as it pertains to if anybody gets hurt, your team is relying upon some of these dudes that haven't performed, who may not be able to perform. And so that's going to be the story tonight. Are some of these people who are on our bench, are they going to further prove themselves to be not NBA players? Or are they going to step into some different upside and maybe have a good game on the road against a lesser, quote-unquote, lesser team? The question is, can they overcome what's coming at them? Because this lesser team has some really good players on their bench. Toronto does not have a shallow bench. They got guys that can really go. Chris Boucher, Ochai Agbaji, the battle dude I was telling y'all about, Sheed and Mitchell. This is a good bench, So can we play well against them? Can we step into their building and have any success whatsoever? So that's really what it is, man. You would think that Toronto's a bad team, but I would argue these last two games, the Lakers have been a bad team. I'm just being honest with you. I haven't seen anything on the road from us that would make me feel like I should have any faith in them beating good teams or bad teams. That's a far cry from how we started the season on a 3-0 winning streak. But with AD starting to take some steps back with playing through the pain of the hip, Austin too's taking steps back. I think he's dealing with something as well. Haven't had a bad game in the last one. I firmly believe that it's time for some people to step up and If they're not capable of doing so, then we're going to start identifying them as such. D'Angelo Russell, much has been said about that, a particular piece and how he's been underperforming. Everybody's talking about it, not just myself. I called him out yesterday saying he needs to play better. I expect for him to do so if he's available to go. If the back injury is a thing and he's not able to go, then that just further exposes our bench. And guys like Max Christie and Gabe Vincent are going to have to play better. Dalton Connect, we need him to step up. He had 18 points in the last game, but most of it came in garbage time. We need him to be able to find his rhythm earlier, and we're going to need him to be a factor tonight. You're going up against some young guys who are going to be shooting the ball like crazy. Dalton Connect is older than some of those people, and I expect for him to step into his own even as a rookie because, quite honestly, he's the best player we got on our bench right now. Just is what it is. Jackson Hayes, we need him to play well tonight. Got some real centers he's going up against tonight. Jakob Poeltl, Chris Boucher, those guys are going to have something to say to him. So he's going to have to bring the energy tonight, not foul a lot, not turn the ball over, score some in the paint. One of the things that we know he's good at is field goal percentage. He's a really good finisher in the paint, so we need to find him and find him often when he's on the floor. Try to grab some scoring out of him, get at least 12 points out of that dude. He's going to have to step his scoring game up. If you're going to be a part of this bench, scoring's the problem. We need scoring. You know what I mean? So I'm calling out everybody on that bench, man. Everybody on the Laker bench. We have about 4 people that we're currently using in rotation, and none of them seem to find any scoring punch when they're on the floor. This is something that we can't continue to live with at all. I do think the Lakers need to call up some guys from the G League, maybe send one of our starters down to the bench to try to booster the bench scoring punch. We need to do something because what we've been doing is not enough. Also, I haven't really loved how we've been defending people. And the losses that we've had, we've tend to be smaller than we need to be. And our defensive pressure has been a bit flawed against Kevin Durant and ultimately against the Cleveland Cavaliers with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley making fools out of us out there. So, our coaching staff has some adjustments to make, and they need to win the coaching battle tonight. And so that's really where my head is, man. This Toronto team, they on a 3-game losing streak, but they're at home, and they are due a home win. And I just don't want to see us drop the ball tonight. This is one of those who are you games if you're the Lakers. You lose 3 straight on the road, and one of them games will be the Toronto Raptors. We're going to start saying, okay, this is a team that could potentially play well at home so long as everybody's healthy, and it's potentially a nobody on the road. That's what this game is going to define. So that's what the Lakers have to do. We're trying to establish a base in regards to our wins and losses so we know whether we're fighting tooth and nail to make the playoffs or we're one of the better teams in the Western Conference like we thought we were to start the season. I like what I saw from Rui Hachimura to start the year. He's having a good year. But we need him to stay healthy because obviously the starters are really starting to ail. So hopefully he can continue doing his thing. He didn't have his greatest game in the last one. This is going to need to be a bounce back Rui night. Same thing for Austin. Fighting through injury, we got to play hard in order to beat this Toronto team. This is not a gimme game. It's not. It's a trap game, and if we don't approach it as such, it's going to be a problem. Mind the turnovers. Mind your turnovers. They got plenty of players that can play some defense out there. As I mentioned, Sheed, Poeltl, Mitchell, they all known for playing defense. They all known for getting steals. Grady, they can steal the ball. So if you come in thinking that this is going to be an easy game from that standpoint, they're going to pick your pocket and go the other way. And our transition defense is not very good, so we really do need to cut down on the turnovers. So, protect your paint, man. They're on a high streak scoring in the paint, as already mentioned. 2 games in a row where they've scored plenty in the paint. We have to do something about that. We also allowed the Cleveland Cavaliers to score a lot in the paint. And we just need to understand that this is something that's going to continue to attack us on this road trip. We're 0-2 on a 5-game road trip, you guys. And I know it's starting to get a little softer, of course, with Detroit coming in next, as we go there next, I should say, and then the Memphis Grizzlies, who pretty much have everybody breaking out at once. I got like 6 players playing career ball right now in Memphis. So we just need to be ready for a very tough, continuous road trip. Detroit is not who they used to be. Toronto's probably the weakest team we're going to see in this road trip. So this is a very important game to capture. Historically, we haven't played our best ball in this building, and there will be no excuses. You know, there will be no excuses. The Lakers have played some tough teams. I'll give them that. But, you know, our effort needs to be consistent, and our bench needs to simply perform better. And so that's what it is, man. No nonsense. Calling out everybody. Be ready. Do your homework. I know JJ's a stickler for doing homework. We're going to see. This is going to be a real test to see how much homework he's been doing. Because Toronto's playing some specific ball right now. Scoring in the paint. You got certain guys breaking out. This is not one of them games where you want to come in unprepared thinking you're playing somebody that's got a certain identity to them. You're going to get caught off guard by what they've actually been doing. This is one of those games. Jakob Poeltl playing great. Ochai playing great, as we said. RJ playing all-star ball. You know, Grady breaking out. You don't want to take any of this for granted tonight. So I'm on high alert for this particular matchup against the Toronto Raptors. Your Los Angeles Lakers are going to be wearing their home yellows in their building, while the Raptors will be wearing red with their red floor. So it's going to be very red in there. And, you know, we got to be ready. We got to be ready, man. We need guys to play better. That's it. We need Anthony Davis to win his matchup against some pretty good lengthy players in Boucher and Poeltl. And, you know, thank goodness Scotty ain't going to be out there, but they're still going to have plenty of guys out there doing damage. Hopefully Quickly doesn't decide to come back, and it'll be interesting to see if Jacoby makes his return, but I have my doubts he'll see him tonight. So, you know, that's really what it is, man. Hopefully D'Lo and AD feel great tonight and are able to go, because Lord knows we can't afford to get any thinner as a team. We can't. Good luck to Jalen Hood-Schifino. If you want to know my personal opinion, I don't know that he's going to be anywhere else next year anyway. I think that, you know, when it really comes down to him, he hasn't proven that he can be an NBA player as of yet. If anything, he's proven he's a G League guy. So I think it's a decent chance the Lakers probably re-sign him next season to an even lesser, more comfortable deal, because I don't know how much demand he's going to have on the market. Now, he is a 21-year-old point guard. I'm probably underplaying someone's idea about throwing something at the wall in regards to him. Meaning, you know, let's just, you know, as a tanking team like Brooklyn, let's just bring him in, that kind of thing. He'll probably find a team that'll be willing to do that. But I think I'm saying I think it's a decent chance it may not be, based on what we've seen, the injury issues. He's going to have to play better, and I don't know where he's going to get that opportunity. I got a feeling the Lakers are going to continue to bury him on the bench. It's most noteworthy that whatever team acquires him in trade this year will only be able to pay him as much as the opt-out price was. Meaning that whatever team decides to trade for him, if he plays worth a damn in their uniform, they're likely going to get outbidded for him in free agency this summer. So that could be a deterrent to bringing him in, because essentially the only teams that will be willing to bring him in are teams that are ready for him to come in and just create some cap flexibility expiring on their contract at $4 million. You see what I'm saying? If they bring him in, they trade for him, and he suddenly plays great, now he's automatically going to get a bigger bag somewhere else. They're definitely going to lose him if he plays well. So that's the likelihood that he gets traded to a team that's going to continue to bench him is pretty much imminent. That's basically what I'm saying. So he's in a real tough spot trying to prove himself because of how the Lakers have structured this situation by declining his option. So I think that's a really interesting thing. I think the Lakers could look to trade him, and I think they could look to trade him to a team that likely does not need to use him, but more so could afford to use his expiring contract and give a damn if he plays well or not. They're gonna move on from him anyway. So that's the kind of team that I think the Lakers could likely trade Jalen to if they opt to trade him at all. And I don't know that they'll find that trade. And so I think it's a good chance he may still be a Laker come next season or out of the league, which would be really unfortunate. He's a little too young to be giving up on that soon. But these are all the things that I've been listening to in regards to that situation. And I just felt it would be necessary to bring that to the table because I think the Lakers will be shopping Jalen this right now. Basically, they're gonna shop him. I think that. So we'll see what happens there, man. We definitely need to bring some players in that can help us. I don't believe Jalen's proven that he can do that at all. I don't believe anybody on this bench is really proven they can do that at all outside of Dalton Collect and maybe Jackson Hayes, who has his own issues but can help us. Everybody else, man, I haven't seen nothing from y'all, man. Max Christie, probably the most disappointing player on our team right now. We expected a lot, but I just think that was probably misguided. And we try to allude to that on this channel, given the fact that he wasn't developed properly and now they throwing money at him and they told him to go out there and play ball. And so I expected him to struggle, and I don't think most of Laker Nation did, if I'm being completely honest with you. So hopefully he can snap out of this. It's still early in the season with a lot of reps and a lot of games. Hopefully he starts to find his own, come into his own. But right now we're in some terrible spaces with that particular player. And that's just what it is. And then Gabe Vincent, I believe Gabe Vincent can help us in certain areas, but in the areas we need the most, that's just not his game. He's not going to come out here and score 25 off the bench. It's not going to happen. So, with Bronny being underdeveloped, Dalton Connect's the only guy I can trust on that bench right now. He's the only one. Everybody else on that bench, Cam Reddish, I don't know, I don't expect nothing from Cam. And there's really nothing else on the bench. Everybody else is in the G League. Am I missing somebody? There's nothing back there. So hopefully they call up Quincy Olivari. Hopefully they call up, what's my guy, Traore. I really think those two players are good, so they can boost our bench immediately if you can get them going in the swing of things. And then, of course, Christian Wood and Koloko and, Vanderbilt round out the team. So we're still waiting on those guys to get healthy. And for now, we literally have the worst bench in the NBA. So that's the story, Lakers, man. I'm unhappy with that. I didn't expect these players to look this damn bad, to be honest, which I didn't. I didn't expect them to look this damn bad. And we just going to have to find a way to win games, whether they play well or not. And so Anthony Davis got to step back into 30-point Anthony Davis. As long as he's scoring under 30, we can't win. We cannot win. And that's what's been proven as well. LeBron James, jury's out on whether he's actually facing Father Time or if he's in some type of a slump. It's probably a little bit of both. So we're just going to have to learn the new Bron, and hopefully he can shake a loose and find a way to get some of those easy buckets that he's been known for getting. He really seems like he's struggling to get around people and in front of people this year. He's struggling to turn the corner. It's like it's so much energy being exerted for him right now, and that's what I've been noticing personally. It just seems like as to where he'd be able to push past people, push through people, bounce off of them and lay the ball up. Now it's like he's just trying to turn the corner, and that's the difference I'm seeing. But that's the story, man. I know this is a trap game, and hopefully our Lakers can find a way to wake up for it. That's really what it is. We've been losing lately, so you should be awake. But these are the exact type of games that teams come in and say, "Oh, you just lost to Charlotte. We can beat y'all," and then they play their best game against you, waking up for you. And given the fact that the whole thing, Drake, is in the house, I'm pretty sure Toronto's going to want to win this game for Drake. Of course, LeBron's seen celebrating to the song They Not Like Us, you know what I mean? So, yeah, those two are big friends. Drake got LeBron tatted on him, and to see him celebrating that on, listening and singing that song probably really bothered Drake in a very serious way. So I'd imagine the team is going to reflect that in some way. Just a hunch. That's going to be like an elephant in the room I don't know what else to say. It's just gonna get a little weird there, um, in my opinion. So that's really what it is, man. A little awkward, but Bronny's in the house, and hopefully everybody has great spirits because you know they're both dads. You know, at the end of the day. So yeah, man. What can I say, man? This game is going to be at 4:30, as I already mentioned. I'm excited about the Lakers trying to bounce back and get a victory and not staying on this losing path. But I am nervous about how bad some of our players are looked and how the guys we've been leaning on are starting to get a little injured. So that's really the concern. I want the Lakers and JJ Redick to shake some things up so that our bench can be a bit more reliable so that we don't wear our guys out. 5 games in, we're already seeing we're wearing people out. And that's with us playing this bad bench. If we start to shrink our bench further and play more of our starters, we won't make it through the season. And so that's what I believe. And I think the Lakers need to be wise to try to fix that before it gets any worse. So that is pretty much what I got to say, man. Keep the Raptors out of the paint. Mindful of the pressure those guards put on you defensively. BDL 44, I thank you all for watching. I'm out.